All right, moving along to our fourth storyline of this Monday Night Raw. We're on September 9th, 1996, Monday.
Oh,
Stalker,
Lord.
Barry
Oh,
Windham's
Lord.
debut.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Good God.
He's also facing TL Hopper. I've heard the name before, and I've heard him referred to as Dirty White Boy, but I don't know. Jim Cornette has mentioned him so many times, but this is the first time I saw him. He has a plunger in his hand.
He's a plumber. That's the gimmick. He's a plumber.
Is that it? He freaking he kisses the plunger though.
I'm gonna kiss you in a moment.
Like why do you kiss the plunger? You're gonna stick that into some shit. I don't know. It's wrestling. But anyways,
I don't know either. I don't know, bro, what they were doing here.
The Stalker.
Oh my God.
You want to see the finish? The finish was a scary-looking suplex off the top rope. Because
it was very not good. It was not good. I remember just noticing that, yes.
Yeah, his knee, like, he couldn't really do it without getting his knee on the top rope, and then fucking Barry Windham just fucking grabs him like that. That was tough. But anyways, they got through it, and they finished the match. A match that Vlad probably gives a bad rating to for these guys working their ass off in the ring.
Not because of the match. The match was whatever. This really showed why WCW was just beating the shit out of them at this time. And I guess you could say pun intended because of the plumber gimmick. I don't know, but yeah, no. I mean, this was terrible, dude. Barry Windham, who's historically, if you ask wrestling fans that watched wrestling in the '80s. And the early 90s is considered one of the great workers of all time, and you give him this ridiculous stalker gimmick when you bring him in. And I've heard of Dirty White Boy, but is that I didn't know that was the same guy. Is that because I didn't watch Smoky Mountain Wrestling? Is that the same guy as TL Hopper? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That's the guy. That's
interesting. Interesting to know that. I did not know that. But this is really like I said, this specific match is a great example of. You just showed this and then show what's going on in WCW, and you could see why they're just beating them handily because of stuff like this. This is something else. They were so lost at this point, and the fact that this was still airing when WCW was airing, I don't know, thing turning on WCW and the whole NWO stuff. I mean, insane.
Oh, they were on fire. Macho Man, Ric Flair, Hogan, Hall, Nash. Oh,
yeah. Macho Man jumping into a limo, jumping after the car. I mean, this was insane stuff, and this is what they're showing us to compete. It's insane. Of course, they were running away with it. You're right. It should have been worse. It should have been like 8 million to like 2 million at the very least. That's what they should have been getting killed by based on the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, or maybe I thought WWF might go down a little. I guess they had their loyal following because I thought maybe they could go down to like 1 million if people would jump to WCW, but people were
correct. Well,
as WWF all the way.
As you know, some wrestling fans that friends of ours that have said they were WWF. They didn't really watch WCW until way later, or not at all. They were loyal to the stuff that they were watching, which was WWF at the time, and that's all they ever knew, and that's all they ever saw.
That's true. Brian and Robert were WWF guys, so
absolutely, and I don't think they ever. I think some of this, they kind of watched WCW later on, but not really.
All right, let me mention a couple more storylines before we get out of here. Brian Pillman. This was during the match we just watched, during the Stalker match. I guess they cut to Brian Pillman in the back, and he announced, because he's friends with Bret Hart, he announced that Owen has reconciled with Bret, and that Bret will be at the pay-per-view and that they'll get a scoop on what's going on. There's big news. So they're introducing this little by little, not really explaining what's going on. But Pillman and Owen Hart were involved in this, and we both gave it a half thumbs up. So a lot of half thumbs up on this show. A lot of kind of liked it, compared to WCW on this show where we're like fucking loving what's going on over there. So, but this is not bad. This is leading to something good, you said. So, but still not a very exciting segment on this night. But something interesting from last week, we had a segment where we covered how the commentators, specifically Jim Ross, announced that there was going to be a return of Razor, Ramon, and Diesel, which was weird because on Monday, the previous Monday, Hall and Nash were on WCW, on NWO, fucking beating people's asses. So here's the continuation of it. So the Razor and Diesel update. I think this was during the, during the same fight, during that Stalker. So I guess they didn't really care about that Stalker match. They were doing other things. But okay, let's listen in on what JR has to say about the update.
Your sources about Razor and Diesel probably Jake the Snake Robertson at 4 o'clock in the morning lying in some gutter somewhere. Well, I got something to say about that. I'm going to read it right here, as a matter of fact. I want to publicly apologize to the WWF for prematurely breaking the story of Razor and Diesel returning to the World Wrestling Federation. I have inadvertently caused a snag to occur in the negotiations, for which I publicly apologize. Again.
He looks like he's reading that. Sounds like he's reading it.
He's definitely reading it. Well, even Lawler said he's reading it.
Full responsibility for this error in judgment. However, I still stand steadfast in my story, in my sources, and we'll have more to say on this matter later, right here tonight. Wait a minute, Ross. Put that card down that you're reading from. Who prepared that for you? Some attorney? Tell us in layman.
Yeah. Well, last week I jokingly said that segment blew my mind. Like, oh my God, Razor and Diesel are coming back. But none of these guys are really selling this. Even last week, what's his name? Kevin Kelly was telling JR, when JR said it, he was like, wow, that is really quite the story. How amazing. Really, that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is they all knew what the end result was going to be as far as what it was going to be, and they probably all thought it was insanely and ridiculous. I don't know.
They did it anyways, though. Professional.
I'm guessing this was just a Vince idea, and they had to go with it because he's the boss, right? They go with if it's his angle and he wants to go with it, they go with it. They do the best they can with it, but they all probably, not even deep inside, they knew that it was shit. That it was going to end up being shit. So they were, they were not probably go, with that emotion that you need to get an angle over or something like that, because they knew where it was going. So that's my thinking on it, even with Jim Ross and Kevin Kelly.
Let me see what are our reviews for this. Me and Vlad, 2 thumbs down, or not 2 thumbs downs, a thumbs down from each of us, total 2 thumbs down. But okay, yes. For anyone who doesn't know, this ends up being with the storyline where it's a fake Razor and a fake Diesel. So if you haven't been following our show or wrestling in general, but this is a famous thing that happened. But we'll probably get to that in the coming weeks. Almost done. 2 more storylines here. Crush. I don't know who Crush is. Do you know who Crush is?
That's Bryan Adams, man.
That's Bryan Adams? I knew I recognized him, sort of. I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they seem like they're trying to feature him. Like, he got a win on this night, but okay. His manager is Clarence Mason, who is a manager at the time that I don't really know a lot about him. I don't really know a lot about him.
To be honest, I don't know a lot about him either. I know he was a manager around this time, but I think this character definitely disappears fairly soon. It's not something that's going to be there long term.
I thought there was some interesting interaction when he was on commentary. That's some funny stuff.
You said that. I don't remember anything he said, but maybe you could remind me.
He said, "I'm not his manager. I'm his legal advisor." Okay.
Okay, that's all right. That's not bad.